Hey everyone, I'm Hannah. Welcome back. Come on in, come on in. Today is a very special video because it's a video response. If you have not been on YouTube long enough to know what a video response is, then I'm sorry. But we're doing it today. We are doing a traditional video response. Recently, Chelsea from The Financial Diet made a video about why she's scared of aging on YouTube, and oh boy, did it hit so many points of things that I'm thinking about, that I'm scared about, that I am confused about, and I just wanted to share my own thoughts inspired by Chelsea's video. And I'll leave the link to Chelsea's video in the description so you can go and watch that as well. The Financial Diet is a great channel, by the way, all about personal finance and money, and I love it. So I have a lot of thoughts, and I've broken this video down into 4 parts, which are the kind of key parts that Chelsea touches on in her video that I also want to chat about. The first is older people getting involved in YouTube drama, cancel culture, weighing in with their opinion on things that don't concern them or they're not qualified to do so. We will get into that. The second is having some kind of YouTube exit strategy. The third is building a self-sustainable platform, brand, or business. And the fourth is 10 years from now, what does that look like? These are all things that I'm thinking about right now, and I definitely have more questions than answers, but this is just where I'm at. So the first section in my notes, I called it, in all caps, your opinion doesn't always matter. So I personally avoid weighing in on YouTube drama and on cancel culture at all costs. Sometimes I will just linger and watch from afar, but I very rarely say anything publicly about what is going on. New stuff, new information is coming out all the time, and I just feel like you say something and then 20 minutes later that opinion is not going to be relevant anymore, or it will be the wrong take, you know? Sometimes I also just actively avoid reading about the drama or the cancellation because I'm like, how does this even concern me? And I don't want to waste my time learning about something so trivial. And I totally get that platforms like Twitter are literally there for you just to give your opinion on whatever you like. And that's fine, you know, like, I really liked this movie, or like, oh my God, this TV show is great. Like, those kind of opinions I'm spouting on Twitter as well. But when it comes to drama or more serious things, I rarely see it as my place to comment. But I don't know whether that not doing anything is coming from a place of fear. Chelsea talks about how as you grow up on the internet, we should be setting ourselves higher standards and building a habit of knowing when and when not to weigh in on some kind of debate that is happening online and give your hot take or not, and when just to say that you don't know. I tend to retweet or share things that other people are saying if something happens that I feel like it makes sense for me to weigh in on, but I just don't know what to say. And that happens a lot. I'll be reading about something that has just happened and I'll think I should probably say something about this, but I don't know. I don't think I'm very good with words. And so I'll often like look for something really smart that someone else has said and just be like, this. That tends to be my strategy, but I also don't know whether that's coming from a place of like low self-esteem in my ability to word things in a way that makes sense and that is meaningful and appropriate. But I don't just retweet or share things because I think someone may have worded it better than me. It might be that their voice is actually more important in the discussion than mine, than a white, straight, middle class Western girl. So that's also a thing that I consider when weighing in or not in drama, debates, who knows, whatever it is. Of all of the things that Chelsea talks about in her video, this is the area that I do actually feel the most confident about in terms of how I conduct myself online. But the downside of that is actually maybe I'm being too cautious sometimes, and actually there are situations where I should be saying something, but I'm not saying anything at all. So the second thing that Chelsea talks about is having an exit strategy. Before we get into this, I just need you to know that I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. I still absolutely love making YouTube videos, but this is something that I know I need to be thinking about now in terms of planning for the future. What does my retirement look like? How do I build something that actually lasts? Am I going to be in front of the camera at 80 years old? At what point do I stop and move on? But move on to what? Last year, I went to an event called Clamour Summit, and Matt Pat and his partner, Steph, did an amazing talk all about having a YouTube exit strategy. And I went and found my notes from that talk, and I wanted to chat through some of the things that they identified. So their talk was called Hopping Off the Treadmill, Exit Strategy. Oh boy, did I need this talk. So they identified 5 different potential futures for YouTube creators, and for me personally, I think only 2 of them apply to me. So the first one is just run the race. Stay on the platform until you can't or you don't have to. And by don't have to, it means you've earned enough money that you are set for retirement. Like, you actually don't need to work another day in your life. Kind of like PewDiePie and Jenna Marbles. Those 2 are definitely in this camp. They're usually a solo creator, personality-based content, and rely on AdSense. The second option is pass the torch, and this means basically having a new host. And this one they identified as being really difficult to do. We've seen it when Grace Helbig had to start her new channel, and the Daily Grace channel suddenly had new faces on it, and that channel kind of died. And when Ray William Johnson left his channel, and without his face on it and with new hosts on it, it died. At least the last time I checked those 2 channels, they weren't doing so hot, and I don't even know if content is still being uploaded to them. I don't know. They said in order to do this effectively, it has to be a really long transition, introducing your audience to new cast members, new hosts. You bring the audience along for that journey and are transparent along the way. And they said a really good example of this is Good Mythical Morning. They have the Mythical Crew, and they introduce members of the Mythical Crew, and some of them even have their own shows now on the GMM channel, so they've done it really well. Also, Yogscast, I think, have done it really well because there's so many different members of Yogscast. The third one, and then this is the one that most applies to me, is become a new company. So this is about aligning yourself with an industry, becoming a thought leader, an expert in that area, and it actually means that you are less dependent on YouTube fame and success, because your new company, or whatever the industry you're in is self-sustaining and functions by itself. So for me, I'm like, what is this? What do I do? What is this company that is created by me and adjacent to me, but doesn't super rely on the numbers and being YouTube famous in order to survive? A really great example of someone who has been able to do this is Grace Beverly, with her like 3 or 4 different companies now that she's created, but all of them are in like the fitness and sustainable fashion space, which is what she was making content on. So she's done it really well, and I'm like, how do I do this? And the final 2 are really not applicable to me at all. And the first is get acquired. So build a channel that will then be bought by a bigger company. That wouldn't work in this scenario. And the third one was IPO, which I can't remember what it stands for, but it's basically when you make your company or your channel public and people can buy shares. At the time when Matt, Pat and Steph did this talk, they referenced that just one channel has done this, which is a Japanese YouTuber, but I went and checked his channel and he hasn't uploaded in 2 years. So I don't know what that means. Those are a bunch of different exit strategies. The building a company that is self-sustaining is the one that makes the most sense to me. The others would be like, number 1, run the race, but I don't have the YouTube fame and the numbers for that to be possible. And also, I'm not interested in doing that. I am interested in building something bigger than myself. Like, that really excites me. Bringing on new hosts, I'm like, maybe? But again, that's really difficult to do, and you need a very long transition. But I do like the idea of having a team that you include in like the behind the scenes of content that you make, and your audience get to know them. That I really like. But part 3 is the exit strategy that I've identified as the one that most suits me, and Chelsea talks about this a lot in her video, which is building a self-sustainable brand. The Hannah Witton brand is not self-sustainable because it relies on me. I am the bottleneck. If I get ill again, then everything stops. If I don't want to do it anymore, everything stops. If I get cancelled, everything stops. Everything is about me. And I don't want it to be all the time. So with Chelsea, she's built the Financial Diet. The Financial Diet is its own brand, and it could exist without Chelsea in front of the camera, and it also could potentially exist without Chelsea in it at all. The Financial Diet is topic-based, not personality-based, so that really helps with the passing the torch thing as well. So my next step is to build something that can function, sustain itself, and earn revenue whilst being less reliant on me, but not necessarily without me completely. And I don't just mean sustainable on a business level in terms of the fact that the cogs are moving and it earns its own revenue, but sustainable in terms of my own energy and mental capacity. Doing what I do is often very draining emotionally. I enjoy making the more personal content now. I find it really fun. It encourages breaking down of taboos and stigma around a lot of these sex and relationships topics that we cover. But there's only so much that I can give emotionally before I burn myself out, get bored of myself, run out of stories, or just feel like I've exploited myself. It is possible for you to exploit yourself. The more personal videos are more popular and tend to get the most engagement. And it's really easy to get sucked into this cycle of giving and giving because that's what gets rewarded, but that's just not sustainable for me. And finally, 10 years from now, Chelsea asks, what does my life look like? What role does the internet play in my professional life? Is it the same as it is now? Probably not. 10 years time, I've been on the internet for 9 years. And so then like that again, it's gonna be so different, but it's impossible to figure out what that actually is. Another thing Chelsea talks about in her video is how there aren't that many older role models on the internet that give healthy examples of what it's like to age online. Maybe like Hank and John Green, but even then I kind of feel like what they have is unattainable for me. But it's such a new industry, there isn't a really broad range of people who are 10 years ahead of me in their career. And Chelsea also talks about, is she going to say anything that she is going to cringe about or regret? And I worry about this constantly. I mostly worry about what my kids will think, my potential future kids, and also my potential future children's friends will think of my videos, or if they'll even care. Like, actually, that would be great. If they just don't care and don't look at my videos at all, fantastic. But, like, what if they do? That's their mum. Am I worrying about something I shouldn't be worried about? I don't know. Maybe they won't even see them. Maybe YouTube will be gone by the time my children are old enough to watch my videos. And there we have it. My video response to Chelsea's rant about aging on YouTube. And you just get to hear what is going on in my brain and where I'm at and what I'm worried about and the future. So yeah, I am actually a bit worried about aging online, but only because there is a very limited amount of healthy role models of people who have done it before me. And I'm also worried about what I'm doing now I know isn't going to be sustainable forever, and so I need to be thinking about that right now and figuring out how do I change things now so that in the future I'm not panicking and like completely burned out. We'll see. Am I just talking about this and not doing anything about it? We'll also see. Thank you for watching. I would be really interested to hear your thoughts on all of this in the comments. If you have any thoughts, if you have any words of wisdom for me, or you know of any healthy role models who are on the internet who have been able to age gracefully online and create something sustainable, that would be really helpful for me. Please like this video if you liked it, and make sure you subscribe because I make new videos every week, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.